Speaking of what's going on at Sam's Burger Joint this evening, we have two of the primary forces that'll be on stage this evening. We got Guy Forsyth, Jeska Forsyth in the studios. Thanks for coming down, traveling down I-35.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us here.
Well, sure. And you're traveling because you have a new musical baby that you're showing off.
That's right, a brand new release. We have an EP that just dropped entitled Writer of 4 songs, which is now available on the streaming services everywhere, wherever bands are bought and sold. And we're real happy about that and glad to bring it out. And we're going to do a release show tonight at Sam's. And we're real excited about it.
Now, what did you put out before? I was trying to remember what you had put out the previous release before this one.
The one before this was called Conspirators. And
that's right.
Featured my wife and myself. My wife Jess is here in the studio right now. She's
Still here.
Wrestling with the musical saw right now.
That's right. Okay, I couldn't quite. I was like, okay, it wasn't a blues. It wasn't a blues one.
It was more folk, really. It was, and it had elements of blues in it, but it was a record that I made with Jess. It was very much like a black and white photograph, just guitar and voices.
Now that was
2019.
Was that
pre-pandemic?
Pre-pandemic.
That was 19.
Yep.
You had no idea that you could have done all that while you were sitting at home doing streaming.
That's right.
Or doing live shows.
I mean, we did so many live shows during the pandemic that we broadcast from the house. Jess was an early proponent of adopting the sort of YouTube home streaming model as a way for musicians to deal with the isolation that we all experienced during the pandemic. And so we basically taught ourselves how to be our own TV station and went on our world tour of the house.
That's what I was going to mention. It was I didn't get to see a lot of them, but I did see some, and it was like, a different room in the house.
Well, luckily for you, they're restreaming them on Channel 16 in Austin. So.
Oh, really?
Someone just messaged me the other day and said, "I just saw you and your husband in the bathtub." I was like, "Oh, okay." We did a show from the bathtub.
There you go. Well, that's pretty creative. And that was your idea, Jeska? Yes, of course it was. She's smiling over there like, yes. And that's pretty creative. And it was pretty interesting to see artists that had no clue even what button to push before they knew how to play the music, but to make it onto Zoom or whatever it might have been platform was sometime interesting. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much of a surprise. Musicians are by their nature hustlers. Anybody who's trying to make a living or go at it right now in the music industry has to be remarkably resourceful. And since there is no clear path, forward. We're all having to try to figure it out on our own. If it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's not easy.
Right, correct. In fact, that was one of my notes I'm going to talk to you about here in a bit, but talking to Guy Forsyth, Jeska Forsyth in the studios here. Guy and Jeska playing tonight over at Sam's Burger Joint, and Guy's got a guitar with him. Jeska's got some tools with her, and they can make music with these things. What you got?
Well, we're going to do a song for you that's off of the record. This is the title track of the EP, and the EP is entitled Writer. And this is a song about being haunted. In the small hours of morning, something whispers in my ear, 1,000 accusations no one wants to hear, a laundry list of reasons to be dissatisfied. You know you've got a writer when you carry this inside. I was hanging in the graveyard with a tin cup telephone, seeking out a requiem from those beneath the stones. I was a fool unguarded, opened up to the unknown. I failed to heed the warnings, I took a rider home. Wash yourself in cold salt water, burn those candles down. Shed that skin he's hiding in, shed that skin, scrape it clean, cause that rider's gonna ride you round and round. Round and round and round and round. That rider's gonna ride you round and round, till you put that rider down. Till you put that rider down. Now I can see you've got a rider you picked up along the way. Don't know where he's going, don't know how long he'll stay. Got his own agenda, he's got somewhere to be. Got yourself a rider, and now you won't take me. You were dancing in the graveyard, tapping on the stones, in a widow's wedding dress that you bought with stolen bones. You spun away the moment that you thought you were alone, but you forgot the blind spot, you took a rider home. Wash yourself in cold salt water, burn those candles down. Shed that skin he's hiding in, shed that skin, scrape it clean, cause that rider's gonna ride you round and round. Round and round and round and round. That rider's gonna ride you round and round, till you put that rider down. That rider's gonna ride you round and round. Round and round and round and round. That rider's gonna ride you round and round. Round and round and round and round. That rider's gonna ride you round and round. Round and round and round and round. That rider's gonna ride you round and round, till you put that rider down. Till you put that rider down. Put that rider down.
Yes, we'll clap for that, yes. Jeska and Guy Forsyth in the studios, KSYM. That's the new title track from the new EP from Digital Tunes from Guy Forsyth. And if you like that stuff, you can go see Guy Forsyth tonight over at Sam's Burger Joint. Showtime, I believe, 8:30-ish?
8:30.
Sort of. There you go.
That's right.
Jeska Forsyth opening up the show.
Yeah, Jeska and the Vanity Project.
It's just Jeska.
Ah, there
Like
you
Madonna.
Go. There you go. There you go. Now, you worked with Mark Addison on this project?
Yeah.
And you had done stuff with him in the past, right?
Yeah, I've done a number of different projects with Mark Addison. The first album that I did with him was called Love Songs For and Against. Which was a really well-received record, and also it was the start of a nice relationship with Mark, because Mark's trick bag is a little bit different than mine. I definitely came into the music the sort of through the blues door, and he entered more through the pop door. His parents were classical musicians, and so he got a good background in music and grew up around it a whole lot. But was in a pop band called The Borrowers that had a contract and did some work out in L.A. and moved to Austin and started working as an engineer. I first met him when I was recording a record called All the Green Grass, And I really enjoy working with Mark. I enjoy writing with him. He's a really smart guy and a great musician and a good foil.
Because I mean, I've heard his name but I never really had heard his name in conjunction with like an Austin band or anything like that. So really, his band days were out in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but he co-wrote a couple of these tunes.
Yeah, he challenged me at the start of the process to try to write really personally about not just autobiographically, but also just like emotionally, personally. And so that song that I wrote was one of the first that I wrote working with Mark for this project. And I wrote that one with him and Get Up, which is another song from the record. And
well, that one's Get Up is sort of about being a musician, right?
Yeah, it's very much about what brought me here, and sort of the reason behind all of it. Which, I mean, if you can find a reason in making music, it kind of it kind of exists a little bit in that way that art does, where it does not necessarily make sense. You know, it's not the way that's going to make you the most money. It's not going to give you the most security. It's not going to give you the most safety. It is something that the soul wants. It's something that the heart wants. But if we divorce ourselves completely from the soul and from the heart, what are we? Why are we here? You know, what is the point?
Right.
So it's a weird choice to be a musician, and I say that in that it's probably not a choice, right? You know, like it keeps happening. We're music-making animals. We all over the world, in every culture, there's music being made by humans in the most difficult and unimaginably difficult circumstances. Yet it's still something that we continue to do. Why is it? Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
You know, I would suggest it's because it helps align our mind and spirit with other people. It teaches and fosters empathy, and without empathy, we fail as an organism. We have to work together. We totally depend on other people, even at the most biological level. In order to procreate, we need to have another person. You know, like it's absolutely necessary. And music is one of those ways that connects us. It's a tool for us to work together. It's also a tool for transcendence. Out of those difficult times and bad situations, music gives us a way to see something beyond that. You know, you could say that that's sort of the same role that religion plays. And I think that at that point, we're having a chicken and the egg conversation, you know, like, you know, which came first?
Right. Philosophy, courtesy of Guy Forsyth. And let me add, since we've been talking about being a musician business, I know a couple of years back, the Austin music community, they were having these rallies. I know Nakia was part of it, and you might have been part of it, where you were saying that, okay, clubs had closed up, couldn't open and play, and you had no place to play. So now it's time we want to get back to playing, but you have to sort of give us a living wage, right?
Yeah. I think that's
and
how
is that situation now in Austin?
Well, one of the things that Austin has done is that they did create a live music fund, and through a grant application process, you have the option to apply to access this reservoir of money that comes from the taxes that the hotels charge so people coming into town to vacation, you know, like the people who are coming in and they're spending their money in Austin are subject to a hotel tax, and that money goes into a fund to help support live music, because the primary reason why people are vacationing in Austin is the art scene, the music scene.
But I will say they just did the application for the first time, like the Live Music Fund just now.
Oh, really?
They didn't put anything out during the pandemic. The money's been there, and they've been having a hard time rolling it out. So
yeah,
I appreciate it, but
we appreciate it. And the reason why I mention it is that we definitely want them to continue to do this, because the money exists. There are people that would like to see that money turned right around and put into creating a new convention center, which would certainly make somebody a huge amount of money.
Our convention center's fine.
But
yeah, convention capital of the world. I don't think it goes.
It's trying to figure out the complicated idea of how do we get this money to support the thing that is creating the draw. Not just somebody cashing in on it, which, like there are lots of people that would love, to just cash in and cash out.
I think they're already doing that.
Well, they're clearly doing it. It's clearly happening. But how do you create money to help sustain musicians when it is so difficult to monetize music? And we were having this conversation before we went on air on the ways that in the span of my career, the different ways that musicians have gotten paid for their work has changed so radically. And it's moved from a paradigm where musicians might create music and sell it to a time where it's very difficult to sell music at all today. Now, this is like a blues show, and that people are, most of the people who are listening to it are interested in a type of music which isn't what you're normally going to get anytime you turn on the radio. You have to have a listening for this thing. It's sort of like being a fan of sushi in the 70s. Like a lot of people would just look at you like, why would you eat raw fish? Why would you do that? But now we've reached a certain point where most people are like, yeah, sushi's great. I love it. It's wonderful. And music, live music, original live music, niche original live music types are hard to find. You have to know what you're looking for. Of course, it's never been a better time to be a consumer of music than right now, because I can just pick up my phone and say, hey, play Robert Johnson, and bang, Robert Johnson springs from the speakers in my phone or into my car, which used to be extremely difficult. Like when Nick Pearls was putting together the recordings that would sort of act as the bedrock for the Yazoo record label, right, that spearheaded a lot of the reissues of old 78 records when they first started. You could spend your whole life looking to compile a dozen Robert Johnson songs by networking by mail with other collectors around the U.S. It's hard. It was hard to do. It was significantly difficult. But now it's really easy. It's never been an easier time to be a consumer of music. But it's harder.
They're giving it to you.
Yeah, it's just all right there. It's the information age, which means if you know what you're looking for, you can find it. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll always get the absolute median. You'll get the middle of the road, the most, like the least chances possibly taken. It will almost be the most invisible version of it.
Yeah.
Which is too bad.
Yeah.
But you have to know what you're looking for in order to be able to find it.
Yep. All right. Time right now is 5:40, and you are tuned into Third Coast Music Network. We're fortunate enough to have Jeska and Guy Forsyth in the studio here. Guy's traveling around in support of his brand new release EP called Rider. And he's playing tonight. They're both playing tonight over at Sam's Burger Joint. We just heard the tune Get Up from that recording. And was that a co-write with Mark?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really started from absolutely nothing. Just had no idea. And he said, you should write about your own experience, about what brought you here, and I was like, okay, I can do that, and also, not just where, but why, and how, just all the big questions.
Had you not been writing for a while?
Well, I've been writing, and as a writer, I think that I've gotten. My relationship to writing has definitely changed over time. When I first started to write songs, I had no idea where they came from. I just felt, wow, like how did this happen? Where did this come from? I just, would hear something in my head and write it down, or I'd be fooling around with the guitar and it would just come out, and I didn't understand it. And it was hard because I didn't know how to control it. I might want to write a song, but I didn't know how to access it. But after a career of working on it and talking to lots of other songwriters, I sort of found the common ground and started to learn the craft of it beyond the inspiration of it. Good art needs both. You need, your inspiration is the thing that you're trying to say. The craft is how you say it, how you interpret it, how you bring it forward. And so then as a songwriter, you have an identity, you have some success, then you have to continue to write songs. You write songs with other people, you write songs on demand, you usually it's time to write a song, I'm going to write a song, so you write a song. But you still need to find ways to access that inspirational side of it, because just being able to say something, having a great vocabulary does not necessarily mean you have something to say. You might have something really important to say, but if you lack the proper language to do it, then you're stymied in the same sort of way. So you have to have both of these things. I think that it's important as a writer to realize that just because it happens to you does not necessarily mean that it's art. I could write a song about my breakfast today, or like my commute, but unless I can find some common ground with you, it will be difficult for that to matter to you. Am I bringing something to you or not? What's the point of it? So I think that the challenge was really to be able to take my own experiences and communicate it in a way that makes it useful. That has value. There's hopefully
not just useful to you, but to somebody that's listening to it all.
Yeah. Just because it happens to you does not necessarily mean that it's art. It's like like where is the common ground? That's the point. And I think that what that song is about is about resiliency, and like getting through difficult times and keeping your optimism, your good direction. That's one of the things that music is for.
Right.
Absolutely.
Got it. The man with those words, Guy Forsyth. Guy Forsyth Band. Is it considered Guy Forsyth Band tonight?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Over at Sam's Burger Joint. Jeska. I keep saying Bailey.
Jessica.
Just Jeska.
I have
And
so many
Vanity
lots
Project.
of last names, so I just had to get rid of them.
No, you don't. Anyway, play one more live, and then we'll let you get on over to load in over at Sam's.
Sure. I wrote this one during the in the process of writing. I had the idea for it a long time ago, back in 21, because of the death of my friend Gene Taylor. I don't know if you remember Gene Taylor,
Yep.
great piano player, one of the founding members of the Blasters,
Yeah.
and also was in the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Just had an awesome skill set. He could anywhere in the world he could sit down in front of a piano and in minutes have happy people around him.
And he was part of he wasn't from Texas, but he was part of this Austin music scene for quite a while, right?
Yeah, he lived in Austin for a while, and that's where I got to know him when he would come to the shows that I would do at Antone's on Sundays. I did 10 years of every Sunday at Antone's, and he would sometimes come and sit in, and was a great guy. And even when he was traveling, I would keep in touch with him through the internet, and was a wonderful man, fabulous artist. And he lived in some inexpensive housing on sort of the outskirts of town, because he didn't live there all the time. He spent a lot of time traveling. And, even the most accomplished musicians sometimes don't make a lot of money, which is the choice that is a lot of the choices that we make. But during the winter of 21, when we had the rolling blackouts that occurred, he died as complications to having his power out for 6 days. And he didn't have any outstanding health problem beforehand, but was in his 60s. And I think that it just exhausted him. And on the 7th day, he just didn't wake up. It's a sad story. And it didn't have to be that way.
No.
And that's what this song is about.
And it's called?
The Rolling Blackout Blues. When the pipes all freeze and you want to leave, but ice shuts down the road, we got rolling blackouts rocking Texas on account of all this cold. Well, it ain't no salt, ain't no plow, barely more than corn insulating the house. Those folks in the high rise still got the bright lights, but those on the edges are struggling and dying. Well, right here in Texas, where all the best is in that year of 21, we got hard times behind us. They don't mind us, 'cause worse was yet to come. 6 days in, down to 6 degrees. Cold in the bedroom, cold between the sheets. That glass by my head froze when the cold wind blows. I can hear my name, I hear it calling me. his end that bleak February. His name was Gene Taylor, piano player, one better I've yet to see. Now I would sit by the keys while he'd try to school me about slurs and slides and hard times on the road with JT. But now that light has gone out, and no matter how I shout, Texas has only blue silence for me. When the pipes all freeze and you want to leave, but ice shuts down the road, we got rolling blackouts rocking Texas on account of all this cold.
A good song, sad story.
Yeah.
That's what he's all about. It ain't old zippity-doo-dah like Townes Van Zandt said. That's for sure.
The blues and zippity-doo-dah, two poles.
Right, exactly. Guy Forsyth, Jeska Forsyth in the studios here. Guy and Jeska both are playing tonight over at Sam's Burger Joint. Showtime is 8:30.
8:30.
And information on how they, guyforsyth.com.
Yep, guyforsyth.com, Guy Forsyth Band on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me wherever bands are bought and sold.
Bands in Town, Reverb Nation, Instagram, he's got them all.
Bandcamp.
There you go. Yeah. And, well, we could talk about lots of things. Like I say, I was going to talk about the Revelators, but you guys got to get going here. So since we've played two of them live and one already from the EP, might as well play the last one. Want to set this one up, Armalite?
Yeah, this is also kind of a heavy tune. Armalite is when people describe, like an AR-14. A lot of people think that means assault rifle, but in fact it's an Armalite rifle, which was the company that made the original prototype for the M16 that became the standardized battle rifle for the U.S. military for a significant period of time. And kind of right in the midst of the situation that our nation finds itself in right now, which is with a huge cost being paid and people being shot in a way that other countries in the world do not experience. And why is that? Why are we enduring that here? There's a lot of talk about the Constitution and the different amendments, but my very casual study of law and paying attention to the news cycle leads me to believe that there are forces at play here which are not necessarily in the best interest of our country, and it's playing upon a lot of our worst natures to try to capitalize on that. But it's a complicated issue. That's why I think it requires poetry to try to understand it, and that's what this song is.
Very good. Thanks again for stopping by. Listeners, not doing it right now, but Sam's Burger Joint has given us a couple of pairs of slots on the guest list for tonight's show. So if you don't already have plans and you can buy that Guy Forsyth merch because you're getting in free to the show, then stay tuned, and that's going to be coming up here very shortly. Thank you very much, folks. Thanks. I'll see you all over there later.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thanks, Guy. Thanks, Jeska.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Here is Armalite.